welcome to another one of my live stream lectures. And before I get into today's lecture, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my supporters and everyone for supporting my YouTube channel. Don't forget to mark your calendar for June the 24th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to do another relational lecture. And the focus of that lecture is going to be, I'm going to give a lot of insight on many other things I continue to do to grow my YouTube channel. So with that being said, let's get on down to today's lecture, which is, my guided tour to Cairo, Egypt, aka a spiritual journey, that experience. I've gone on other guided tours since then, but I really want to take a moment to share a little bit more insight on that experience that I had in December of 2023. Last year I went to Italy, Rome, in the preparation behind the scene, getting ready to go to Paris. But it was something about, and I was telling one of my good friends, there was something about that spiritual journey that, changed me forever. And I will tell in any, even if I went to, it ain't even about being a content creator. Going to Cairo, Egypt to see those pyramids was something I've always wanted to do my entire life. And I want to give all thanks and glory to God for giving me the resources and the help to make that happen. And it was life-changing. I tell anyone in this world, if you have not gone to Cairo, Egypt to walk through those pyramids and ride on the biblical Nile River, that is something you need to do before you leave this earth. Make no mistake. And I can clearly remember, as I exit off the airport in Africa, it's just unbelievable. The guided tour, my travel agent that I went through, part of my package deal, because I don't know anything about that country. So they made sure I had a transporter who met me at the airport in Cairo to get me to where I needed to be with the rest of the individuals in that guided tour. I think it was like maybe 10, 11 people in that guided tour, and it was life-changing. Check out a lot of my videos, my popular videos. I did limited live footage in various of the 7 wonders of the world throughout Egypt, throughout Africa, as we walked through the Valley of the Kings, Ramsey 1 through 9. It was breathtaking to be at the base of the Giza pyramid, the pyramids at the base of that, walk inside of those pyramids. And what they teach us in school serves no purpose. One thing about a guided tour is every day we have an itinerary. Africa is such a huge country that, you got to go through various modes of transportation to get to those pyramids, various modes of transportation to get to some of those other ancient temples, various modes of transportation to ride on the biblical Nile River. And it was just life-changing. One of the things I made a point to do is, and I'm going to do this anytime I go out of the country, is I make a point to bring back some of the currency from that country. And here is some of, in Africa they use the pounds. So here are some of my currency that I brought back from Africa. This is 100 pounds of their money. Here's 50, that's 50, 2 50s and 2 100-pound currencies, Africa money. And even when I went to Rome, I made a point to bring back some of their currency. And, I was over there for close to 2 weeks, and, we are doing so much. There was a particular area in Africa on one particular day on our itinerary that was like a 4-hour train ride to get to certain of those ancient temples. And some days I literally just held back because I was getting tired, and I spent a lot of time also getting to observe the culture in Africa. Going to some of those Egyptian coffee shops and sitting down and talking to, because they know multiple languages. They people who live in different countries, they know multiple languages. So I make it a point on some of that time to sit down and go to some of those Egyptian coffee shops, and I struck up a conversation with a retired professor, full-blooded Egyptian, and I'm just sitting here in awe, just soaking up this culture. And one of the things that he told me that stood out, and I will never forget this, is he said, with all of the technology in this world right now today, they still cannot find the source of the Nile River. The Nile River runs Upper Egypt, Lower Egypt. There's one of my live footage where we were on a boat ride on the biblical Nile River, and to be able to be in that water, to touch that water. That Nile River, people, predates Christ. The pyramids predates Christ. To be at the base of that pyramid and to touch those structures, you will not walk away the same. To walk inside of those ancient Valley of the Kings, to see King Tut tombs, and to touch those hieroglyphics, literally I felt the presence of God. God gave these ancient Egyptians to erect those phenomenal structures with all the technology in the world. They would never be able to solve the mysteries of ancient Egyptian. When we were over there, we were literally, I witnessed, they're still digging, people. They are still digging, and I witnessed this, and while they were digging, of course, we couldn't walk in that area, but I'm telling you, to be able to touch the tomb of Ramsey I, they don't teach you that in school, people, with what I saw. I tell anyone, people spend more money going to Vegas. People spend more money going to Disney World in Orlando or the one in California. It took me less money to go on a guided tour to Cairo, Egypt, a spiritual awakening, than a person would spend more money to go into Vegas, more money going to Orlando in Florida, Walt Disney World. I'm telling you, people, I'm not the same. I'm telling you, I'm not the same. And there's no way you're going to be able to see everything. I don't care if you're over there for 5-10 years. It's too much. And at a certain point, that's why I stated I did limited live footage, because at a certain point, you just got to put your camera down and soak up this history, the mystery, communicating with the other individuals in this guide. I would never forget this. And I literally have a scrapbook of a lot of things that I brought back from that spiritual journey. Going inside of their shops and purchasing various postcards from throughout Africa, bringing back their currency, bringing back their money. This is what I'm talking about. This powerful experience ties into a powerful description of living a minimalistic life. People who live and embrace a minimalistic life, we understand the power of life experience. This is priceless. No one in this world could have told me, that's been a dream of mine since as far back as I could remember, to walk inside of those pyramids, to walk inside of the Valley of the Kings, to ride on the biblical Nile River, to see those hieroglyphics up close and personal, people. This here is priceless. More than any amount of money in this world, that spiritual journey was priceless for Marie Holiday. I was literally at the base of this pyramid. And those 3 main pyramids that the world show everybody, I'm telling you, when you get over there are 9 pyramids. And I saw it with my own eyes. There are 9 pyramids. There's pyramids throughout Africa. but they only showcased the main three. And our God was full-blooded Egyptian, speak the Egyptian language, can read those hieroglyphics like the back of her hand, people. You know, school ain't gonna teach me with what I learned from that God, from that experience that I witnessed and saw and touched with my own eyes, people. And I'm telling you, to be able to see all of this was life changing. It was spiritual, you know, and no one in this world, especially when I was going through my financial destruction from 2007 to 2012, when God gave me the skills to rise above my financial destruction and to fully retire September of 2023, exited up out of this workforce with multiple retirement checks that hit me for the rest of my life, and to be able to have the passion and the health and the resources to stay on this trajectory path to go see all of the seven wonders of the world. That is what life is all about, people. That is what living a minimalistic life is all about. When you cut loose worldly possessions and you begin to embrace and you begin to experience life, real talk, people, and mastering your money and your financial health and protecting your energy, all of that ties into minimalistic living. I just renewed my passport. This is my old passport. This here is symbolic, my first passport, because in here it is showcasing my trip to Egypt. It's also showcasing my trip to Rome. This year is about to expire in less than a year. So my new passport is coming because I'm going to need it when I go to Paris. This is what life is all about, people. And it really dawned on me. Here's one of my Egyptian cars I brought from an Egyptian car shop in Egypt, right here. And on the reverse side of this, all of the people who were in my guided tour, we signed off on this. What guided tour that particular time was like 9 or 10 people, 9. I would always forever remember these individuals who shared that spiritual journey with me in Cairo, Egypt, December of 2023. It wasn't about being a content creator over there. No, like I said, I did limited live footage, but it was about going on that spiritual journey. You know, I would never, I'm telling you, no one could have told me. You know, when I rode on the biblical Nile River, I felt the presence of God. When I was at the base of those Egyptian pyramids and inside of the Valley of the Kings, walking and witnessing Ramses I and touching those hieroglyphics, I felt the presence of God. God gave those ancient Egyptians the knowledge, the skills, and ability to leave a lot of mysteries, to erect those phenomenal structures that can be seen from outer space. I don't care how much technology man has in this world, people. They will never be, they are still finding stuff. When 2023, when I was over there, I'm witnessing them still digging. This is real talk. And I was over there for about a good almost 2 weeks, and it was life changing. You're going to save a lot of money when you go through a guided tour. Let me break this thing down to you, world, when you go through a guided tour. When you pay for a guided tour, it takes care of everything. Your flight, you're picking you up from the airport, all of your accommodations. We are doing stuff every day to go see those 7 wonders of the world. But the most important thing, you have a guide. They're going to ensure that ain't nobody getting lost. I don't know that country. I don't know that language. And I'm telling you, it was life changing. People spend more money spending excursion on the weekend than I spent going to Cairo, Egypt, people, for a spiritual journey. People spending more money going to Walt Disney World. People spending more money going to Vegas. Why not take that same doggone money thrown away and go to a spiritual journey and ride on the biblical Nile River, to see those hieroglyphics, to touch the tomb of Ramses 1 through 9, to be at the base of the Giza pyramid, to walk inside of those ancient Egyptian temples. There was one museum we went to over in Cairo, we witnessed, because the Nile River, they pulled out crocodiles that were well over 3,000 years old that were preserved, and to witness that, and that they pulled from that Nile River. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. And that is what life is all about. That is what when you begin to really eliminate your debt, control your money, and master your money, now you can reclaim a lot of disposable income and earmark certain money to be able to travel this world debt-free. I went into no debt for this. I'm here to tell you, that is what life is all about. That is what my spiritual journey was. And I will never forget that as long as I live. My journey to Cairo, Egypt was to me, more of an impact than compared to when I went to Rome and Italy and walked inside of the Vatican and the 16 chapels and the Roman Colosseum. It wasn't nothing even close to what I experienced when I went to Cairo. And when I go to Paris, I'm going to just compare all these different experiences. What I was taught by that God and what I was learning and witnessed from my eyes and that experience, I learned none of that in school. And I got 2 master's degrees, people. But what they teach us in school serves no purpose. You're going to get the real deal when you go to Cairo. And especially if you go on a guided tour and you're guided by a full-blooded Egyptian who can read hieroglyphics, they know their culture. I remember one particular day I was in Cairo, Egypt. I was at an Egyptian coffee shop. And by the grace of God, I struck up a conversation with a retired professor, full-blooded Egyptian, who was giving me all of this rich knowledge that was mind-blowing, real talk. So again, I just wanted to give the world some insight on my experience, and I'm just so excited. Again, I want to give all grace and glory to the Almighty God, because He has guided me, people. It ain't even all about being a content creator. One of the purposes of me being a content creator primarily is to share my life experience as I go on this trajectory path to see the 7 wonders of the world, to continue to share thought-provoking, educational, inspiring, uplifting, useful lectures to the world. That is my purpose, real talk. And I will never forget that guided tour as long as I live. If you owe it to yourself, don't hear it from me. Don't even hear it from me. You owe it to yourself, people, to take a guided tour to Cairo, Egypt. And I'm telling you, if you're spiritual, you will not return the same. And let me just break this down to you even a little deeper to let you know how attainable this is. And I was over there for almost 2 weeks. I spent less than $4,000 on that entire spiritual journey, to include my airfare, to include going to all of those places, to include on having that guide, to include on being picked up from the airport, to include having a red carpet roll out with me, people. Real talk. And I'm telling you, there are people right now who will go to Vegas and spend $9,000 and $10,000. Go to Walt Disney World and spend $9,000 and $10,000. Go to the mall on the weekend on the spending splur and spend $4,000 or $5,000. Real talk. So I'm telling you, it was to me, that trip was priceless. I will never forget it as long as I live. And I've been in the military. I'm well traveled, but that experience was on the top of the pyramid, the peninsula, untouched. And I literally felt the presence of God from the moment my transporter picked me up from the airport at Cairo, Egypt. You can't get no better. There's no way, because they drive crazy in Africa. There is no way in the world I could have figured out how to get from the airport in Cairo, Egypt to the Pharaoh Motel that was our first meeting destination to meet those other 9 people in that guided tour. There was no way I could have figured that out. No way. There's no rules over there. And you got to, they are driving in each other lanes. You can be in the right lane, but then there's someone in your lane, they'll move over real quick before they hit each other. That's how they do it over there. There is no way I could have gotten off that airport in Cairo, Egypt in the language is written in Arabic, their language, all of the signs and there's no way. There's no way I could have got from the Cairo airport to the Pharaoh Motel with the meeting destination for those other 10 people who were in that guided tour who came from all over the world, people. There's no way I could have done that. Real talk. So you would save money by going on a guided tour because it's a package deal and it was life-changing. Real talk. So again, share this information. I want to give some insight onto my guided tour to Cairo, Egypt, aka my spiritual journey. And I'm telling you, all throughout that experience, I felt the presence of God. Did not return the same, and I will never be the same. I'm here to tell you. So again, don't forget to mark your calendar for June the 20th. I believe it's June the 24th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to delve deep and give a little bit more insight in regards to many of the things I do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and a monthly basis to continue to push my YouTube channel into the next stratosphere. But I will say this, that to be honest with you, if the audience is aware, I still, even though I'm fully retired, I still generate money under my company. I have a home office utilizing my credentials. And to be honest with you, my company, that's been around for 24 plus years, going on 25 years, is my primary focus. The direction that I'm taking my YouTube channel is I'm going to be guided by the Spirit, but it's going to continue to be giving uplifting, thought-provoking, educational, useful lectures to the world, and that's it. And to me, it's easy. Continue to embrace that business model. To be honest with you, my YouTube channel really has taken on a life of its own. I don't even keep count of anything anymore in terms of my subscribers. I'm noticing my YouTube chats rising. If the money come, it come. It don't, it don't. Basically, I'm being honest with you. My YouTube channel really has taken on a life of its own. My channel will outlive me, and I'm leaving my legacy. And so that's really kind of, as a content creator, just a tip. You want to get your channel, this is just speaking for me, you want to get your channel to a point where it's pretty much sustaining itself, and then that'll free you up to whenever you get ready to do your published content. You're just maintenance, you're just maintaining. But it took a lot of hard work to get my channel to where it's at now, where it's pretty much running itself, and it's freeing me up in terms of focusing on Patterson Associates Resource Center, providing superior service to my stakeholders, and etc. So, which is a good thing. And that's one of the things I'm also talk about when I do that powerful lecture in terms of some of the tips and strategies I do behind the scenes. One main thing, I'm just in maintenance phase. But make no mistake, I still, gotta publish content, but it's not the forefront. It's not my primary focus. My focus is continuing to cultivate and nurture my company to continue to increase my revenue under Patterson Associates Resource Center. My company has been around long before YouTube rule. So again, mark your calendar. And with that being said, simplify, simple fidelis, and I'm gonna leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.